Welcome back, students. We have completed our last chapter, that was on Indian nationalism, 1885 to 1916. So, since I have told you that we will be combining all the chapters and we'll be studying gradually, and about the question answers of each and every exercises, I will be giving you while the course goes on, because we cannot stop one and continue. So we will continue, and I know the last chapter's question answers have not been given, and last to last I will be uploading it soon. So now we will be last chapter we have dealt with the various during 1916, how from 1885 to 1916, how all the events took place, and the formation of Indian National Congress, and all the events related to that. And we have also come across the very important fact that the Muslims and the Hindus again somehow united. The Muslim League and the Congress got united somehow or the other through various events. And last was the Lucknow Pact, in which we can see the unity of the Muslim League and the Indian National Congress. And gradually we will be learning, or will be doing how it is going with the national movement in this session and future sessions. So we have come across the name Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He was one of the very important leaders and one of the very important person who took part in our national freedom struggle. And about his journey, about his contribution, that's what we will be studying today. So he was, you have to remember where he was born. He was born in Porbandar, Gujarat, in on 2nd October 1869. We all know about his birthday. And he had received his early education in India and went to England to study law. After he became a barrister, an Indian law firm sent him to South Africa for 1 year, but he stayed there for more than 20 years to fight against the racial discrimination over there. So Mahatma Gandhi could see the racial discrimination in South Africa, which is known as the apartheid movement, which is out of syllabus. We are not going to focus on that. But he was deeply hurt with the whatever was going on in the racial discrimination, like in he wanted to fight against the racial discrimination going on over there. And also he could sense the racial discrimination which the Indians faced in their own country. And he was also thrown out of the first class compartment because of the racial bias over there. And he also was one of the catalysts for, he was also regarded as one of the catalysts for the development of the freedom struggle. And also he was against all the aggregation, he was against all the segregation at all the levels. And his famous ideology was of satyagraha, or the truth. And he came to India and gradually took part in the national freedom struggle. So he traveled all over India and saw widespread poverty, helplessness among the Indians. He started the methods of Gandhi, which is very important, were the satyagraha and the non-violence, that means peaceful demonstrations, boycott of British goods and institutes, the use of charkha and khadi to promote Swadeshi, non-payment of oppressive taxes, defiance of the unjust British laws. So these were the various methods which were adopted by Gandhiji. The early campaigns of Gandhi was in Champaran, Kheda and Ahmedabad. In 1916, he travelled to Champaran to rouse the peasants to resist the oppressive Tin Kathia system, where the farmers were forced to grow indigo. So you have to remember where he started his campaigns. First campaign was in Champaran, also known as Champaran Satyagraha. He stood for the cause of the farmers, and against British planters. Young nationalists like Rajendra Prasad and J.B. Kripalani had worked with him in Champaran and were impressed by his idealism and also dramatic and fearless, practical and down-to-earth approach towards the political action. So he organized Satyagraha in Kheda and convinced the peasants not to pay revenue. So Gandhiji started. So somehow this movement of Champaran Satyagraha, Champaran Satyagraha movement, which was taking place in Kheda, and all of this somehow got some could get the attention of the could get some positive impacts among the people, and also he led to the strike against the mill owners who refused to pay them higher wages. So Gandhiji's ideals, values, morals, ethics, everything had great impact on the public, and gradually he became one of the important leaders of our national movement. So first is the non-cooperation movement. Non-cooperation movement, I'll give you a gist of non-cooperation movement, is that this was a form of protest against the Britishers by the means of non-cooperation. Non-cooperation means the Indians will not cooperate with the British government, with the British laws and regulations, rules and everything. They will agitate, or they will protest for the inhuman acts and the inhuman conditions, and also the various legalities by which the Britishers had somehow controlled the Indians, tried to control the Indians for their own gain. So the nationalist, so he also used the various methods of movement, like we have read in the previous chapter, the boycott and the Swadeshi movement. These were the very important movements which he included in his non-cooperation movement. The nationalists decided to surrender the titles and honors given by the British and stood united to promote the Swadeshi goods. So this was an important movement in the national freedom struggle. Now we will read about the causes of the non-cooperation movement. So the various causes of the non-cooperation movement was disillusion at the end of the war. So after the World War I ended in 1919. So earlier what we have come across, that while the First World War was going on, the Britishers were supported by one section of the Congress who supported the cause of the war, as the Britishers always propagated the rights for human, and also propagated that it is important that they were fighting for the rights of the people. But after the war ended, they realized that this was just an illusion, that there was no such idea or ideology on the basis of which Britishers were fighting the war. And they were also very shocked at the fact that the British tried to suppress the nationalists. So this was one of the cause of the non-cooperation movement. Then we come to the Home Rule movement and the Lucknow Pact. So we have come across the Home Rule movement, which was started by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. He started this movement in Pune, and then gradually this movement got spread in all the parts of India, which and also we have come across the Lucknow. So this was mainly to arouse nationalism among the Indians. And again we come across the fact of Lucknow Pact, where the two sections of the Muslim League and the Congress somehow had got united, and they were supporting the same cause of freedom from the British rule. So this also helped in, this was one of the causes of non-cooperation movement. Then the Montague-Chelmsford Act. So this was introduced by the British. This was one of the reforms, or this is also called as the Government of India Act of 1919. This is very important to bring the anti-British movement under control, but it could not satisfy the nationals. Now the Rowlatt Act. The Rowlatt Act, this was also one of the methods of British to suppress the national movement. The emergence of Gandhi on the national front and strengthening of the national movement was a great threat for the Britishers to continue their rule in India. So the Rowlatt Act was being passed, and as per provisions of the act, the legislature got unlimited powers to suppress violence and power to arrest people and keep them in prison without any trial. So this is one of the important features of Lucknow Pact, that without any arrest warrant they could arrest any person who would be linked with the national movement which is going on and keep them in prison without any trial for as many days as they want. National newspapers also came under strict government scrutiny as per the act. So this act was considered as a black act by the Indians, and they revolted in protest against the Rowlatt Act. Many leaders like the Mazharul Haq and Madan Mohan Malaviya, Muhammad Ali Jinnah of the Legislative Council resigned. So Mahatma Gandhi and S.N. Banerjee called for an all-out movement against this act. So this also provoked in the starting of this non-cooperation movement. The Satyagraha campaign was started by Mahatma Gandhi against the repressive measures of this particular act, and it was decided that 6th April 1919 would be considered as the Satyagraha Day. So people responded to the call of Mahatma Gandhi for Satyagraha. Hartal, nationwide hartal or strikes and demonstration were held on this day across the nation. So this was very important. I told you Montague Chelmsford reforms and the Rowlatt Act was very important in the history of our national freedom struggle. And then course of this non-cooperation movement. So first we will talk about the Jallianwala Bagh tragedy. So in this, what happened, there was a peaceful protest, or there was a peaceful meeting which was going on in the Jallianwala Bagh in Punjab, in Amritsar mainly. So in this peaceful gathering which was going on, this protest, the meeting was going on very peacefully, but the Britisher under General Dyer, who entered the park with his troops, and he blocked the exits of the park, and he shooted the Indians. So all the people who were gathered in that Jallianwala Bagh were encountered. So this two leaders were also Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal was arrested. So hundreds of people were killed and many were wounded. So the massacre had roused widespread public fury. So people got angered at the inhuman tactic of suppression by the British. And the Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, Michael O'Dwyer, imposed martial law. So the Jallianwala Bagh massacre brought Mahatma Gandhi to the forefront in the Indian politics. He decided to organize a passive resistance movement protesting the unprovoked firing. And a wave of mass demonstrations, strikes, riots engulfed many regions of India. So the incident infuriated the national freedom struggle. So this acted as a catalyst to the freedom struggle and also showed the repressive measures of the Britishers. So Jallianwala Bagh tragedy is one of the important, it can be considered as a catalyst to the movement, to the national freedom struggle, and also to the commencement of the non-cooperation movement. And this particular movement was being had attended criticism worldwide at the inhuman nature of this particular movement. So we will be doing till here. In the next class, we'll be dealing with the Khilafat movement and the Chauri Chaura incident, and we'll be starting with the next chapter of our syllabus, that is the last chapter. So that will be all. Thank you.